No question. I only got one left. Only one left, and I'll tell you how it's going to end if it happens. The old course at St. Andrews,
Mm.
and whatever I shoot that day when I hold out, I'm going to walk straight west to the beach on the North Sea, and I'm going to take my shoes off and throw them in the North Sea. I'm going to throw my glove in the North Sea and my bag in the North Sea, and I'm going to walk off, and that'll be the last shot I ever hit.
One, two, three, four.
Hello, all. A quick interruption to make note of our 2 discount codes from our awesome sponsors so you guys can go get you some good gear at a discounted price. The first one is for Hook and Gaff. You can use the discount code LOVEGOLF15, all one word, and the number 15 is just the digits. That'll get you 15% off of your order. And then for Cricket shirts, you can go and use For Love of 19. That's FORE. And then again, the digits for 1919. Hope you enjoy. Go get you some cool stuff. That'll help them know that we sent you. And we hope you enjoy the goodies. Thanks, everybody. If you're someone who knows it's time to put the phone down and be present with your family or in the outdoors, this one's for you. Whether your escape is the golf course, the water, or the field, Hook and Gaff Watch Company makes watches built for time that actually matters. Assembled right here in the Carolinas, Hook and Gaff watches feature scratch-resistant sapphire crystal, lightweight titanium, and rugged designs made to handle real adventure without sacrificing style, because performance should look good too. Strap on a Hook and Gaff watch and get back to what matters most. Hook and Gaff Watch Company. Time well spent. Welcome back, folks. Yet again, we've made it to episode 42. Jackie Robinson.
Ooh, that's a good number.
Thank you. I think I want to go back and just name all the episodes after famous. We got to go in next week's Richard Petty. So
Or Brad
we
Doherty. That's what
Brad
I was
Doherty,
thinking.
like we got some cool stuff. We got some cool stuff going on. I need to go back and rename it, but
Once we get into the 50s, your football players
it's
are
tough. We're
harder.
gonna
Yeah.
start going like linemen and stuff.
Yeah,
I feel like
exactly.
it's tricky.
Yeah.
It's tricky. We lose out on the basketball players after a while.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough. Welcome back, fellas.
How's it going?
Good to be
Hey,
here.
man. Good to be here. We've had some rain here in the mountains. Went skiing, Hunter.
Did
Went
you go
skiing for
skiing?
the first time in 25 years.
Oh, wow. Didn't
Took
you
the
have a
girls.
bad skiing experience as a kid?
I did. I broke my leg when I
That's
was in
what I thought.
kindergarten. Yep.
Yeah.
I
So
yeah, I skied I think a little bit after that and I
I was going to
snowboarded
ask, is that the
once, but
first time back or no?
I don't think so. I think I went back after that. To be honest, I'm not super sure.
Yeah.
Um, that was probably when I was about 6.
Hmm.
I went snowboarding once in middle school. I didn't like it.
Yeah, you and mountains don't normally go together too
Yeah,
well.
I've had a couple run-ins with the mountains around here. Um,
Or
but
rundowns.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, touche,
Yeah.
touche. A couple rundowns, but no, the girls wanted to go snowboarding,
Nice.
and I kind of thought so once Willow said she wanted to go snowboarding, like I just started watching videos on Instagram, and then your feed gets into it. Dude, I've been like obsessing over wanting to get back into it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I guess I'm gonna try it. So we went up to Cat
That's cool.
Catalucci and did it, and
My nieces have
we
been
had a
up
lot of
there.
fun.
Same thing. My nieces have been up there a lot lately. They've like gotten into it the past month too. So
It's been a lot of
yeah,
fun. We actually had it was some pretty good snow when we first got there, and then we stayed till dark, and it started getting kind of icy, and it's kind of tough to do much on that when it gets
yeah.
like that. But the girls had fun, so I think we'll be doing some more of that. How about you guys? Anybody doing anything fun or new or exciting or boring or terrible?
I don't have anything too much fun to report. No, I'm ready for. I feel like golf season's around the corner. It's been getting a little bit better, so
Yeah.
I'm starting to get excited for that a little bit. But nothing too fun to report. This episode was awesome, that's for sure, and so I've been excited about that the whole week. And that was a good talk with Sarge too.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to having Sarge on. We got Don Sargent, teaching professional, director of instruction, Scioto Country Club. Fun fact, Donald Ross, Sargent. So, kind of cool, the Scioto connection. We didn't really get into that, but
Meant to
um,
be there.
he's a legend. You'll hear all about that in the episode. But he was really fun to have on, tell some good stories. So, um, uh, skewing negative again. We had the one and done
I was a little
last
disappointed
week.
in that. That's for sure.
Some of us were disappointed, others of us were not.
Yep.
If anybody wants to take their victory lap on here, they could go ahead. I think if you pick a winner, you have to give a winner speech. So, Ryan, what do you have to say for yourself?
Oh, I told you, I told you, I told you.
How would you have felt if we told you Thursday that he was going to shoot one over on the last day?
Not too good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, when I picked him, obviously in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, he's never won before, and winning that first one is always hard. And then when I saw he had a 6 shot lead going into the last day, I'm like, well, that should be enough, but Rory's back there. And then he still had a 6 or 7 shot lead, whatever it was, a third of the way, halfway through it. I'm like, oh, he's good now. It wasn't good until the very end. I mean, even with that last putt on 18 that he left 3 feet short. And of course, Rory made that ridiculous putt off the back. And I loved did you see his answer to the interview question when they said,
Yeah,
did it
Yeah,
sting a little to make that one? He's like, no, I think that made another 500,000 or so.
yeah.
yeah, I'm
It was
good
a
with
good
it.
putt to make. I'm good
Yeah,
with that one.
I'm good with it. I'm good with it.
But no, I mean, Bridgman looks like a great player. It's still early. Obviously, there's been a lot of guys that have come out on tour and had success early and then varied levels of success after that. But he seems like a great guy. It was cool to see, Dabo and the Clemson guys give him shout outs, and he seems like an easy guy to root for. So it was win-win for me. I got to get up the leaderboard on you guys early, and
Way up the leaderboard.
If
I
you're
like
gonna, yeah, if you're gonna pick a winner, that's a good week to do it.
It
a
was.
signature event. It's a good,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I was extra happy watching him come down the stretch and get that over the line.
It was a great win. Ryan got his first signature event victory. Congratulations. First win of the season. First
Thank
win
you,
of
thank
our
you.
For Love of Golf one and done. So
Yep.
lots of first. So yes, obviously Ryan had Jacob Bridgman finish first, cashed a cool $4 million check. After that, Hunter pretty strong. Pearson Cootie, T16, $319,000. That's a pretty good paycheck
Not
for a
bad. Yeah.
top 20 finish. Uh, Aaron Rye kind of slid down the leaderboard for me. Made 136,500 bucks, and Justin had Siwoo Kim who finished T34 for
Mm.
109,000. So for all of you out there that are keeping up with this, I'm sure there's probably a long list of people that have this uh, on their keys to watch for each week.
What
Bringing
was
up,
what was what was Justin's other pick though? Like the pick that he
oh
would have
yeah, who?
made.
Yeah, go ahead,
Who
Justin.
who would you have
That's
picked?
a whole nother part of this segment. Give us the other pick that you almost said.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's probably Pot Guider.
To be honest, I really thought Siwoo was a good pick. I was proud of that one, and I think he finished the week at the same score relative to par that he was when I picked him. So probably not ideal. Um,
Good first
but
day, and then
yeah, I think this week I'm not going to go so far down the leaderboard. I'm determined.
Well, we're not there yet. So just hold your horses and you can give us your first and second choice when it's your turn, okay? So just a recap. Ryan Martin is currently in the lead with $4,162,000. Congratulations. Round of applause. Yay. Followed in second place by Justin Fabling at $986,500 after that Tommy Fleetwood T4 finish in week one. Um, I am in third place at $651,500, followed up by Hunter Brown, who's got a top five finish going so far. in the group at $444,200. So
It's a long season. It's all right. We got a lot of
it's
That's
it.
right.
it's a
Just a
very
lot.
long season. It's it is interesting. Obviously, we haven't made many picks yet. We've had 8 total picks, but only one winner and only two top fives.
Hmm.
And we're getting the ability to see the leaderboard after one round. So I think that just it's a really cool look into just how hard it is to go wire to wire, how hard it is like just to put 4 good rounds together and not even win, but just to like 4 fairly consistent rounds together. So, um, Ryan,
Yep.
uh, off of a victory, we're gonna give you first choice, even though we can all pick the same person.
This is a tough week. Not a lot of household names. And after the first round, we have 2 guys that have doubled the field. So it's really hard not to go with one of those 2 guys. You got Austin Smotherman at 9 under and Nico Echeverria at 8, and then a bunch at 4 and 3. So um, I'm I'm gonna go with probably the easy pick. Well, I'll go Daniel Berger.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
wow.
Didn't see that one coming.
No,
Are
me
you like
neither.
feeling bad for us because you won a signature event, or what's the deal?
No, I feel like you guys are gonna go for those top 2 guys and they're gonna let you down. So
Okay.
go for
Okay.
it.
All right. Daniel Berger, Ryan Martin. I like it. I mean, he is.
I've got house money to play with for a week or
Yeah,
2.
see, there it is. There it is. It's coming out now.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Justin, who you got?
So, like I said, I'm not gonna go as far down the leaderboard this time. I'm gonna go with Nico. Um, he, kind of a backstory there. He and Ben Paulin are really good friends. They traveled together on uh, Latin American tour and Corn Ferry tour, and so got to meet him when I caddied for Ben in the Nashville event several years ago, and so he's kind of a guy that I root for anyway. Um, and so hoping he does well again this week.
Awesome. And to fulfill your duties, who is your B player?
Austin Smotherman.
Don't know that's Parker. Parker's the one who just picks the leader every time.
Uh,
Uh, I don't know. I'll tell you after. I'll tell you next week because then I can say that I would have picked the winner or something like that.
yeah, Justin knows that I don't have a great memory, so I can hear him saying next week, "Don't you remember I called you and told you Jackson Suber was getting ready to play well?" I could just feel it. Um, no excitement here. I was going Nico as well, so I'm gonna stick with it.
That's pretty good. I was going to go Nico too. So I'm going to be really chalk because I haven't done this yet. I don't think I've picked anybody in the top 3 or 4 yet. So I'm going to go Austin. He's going to win it. Wire to
Okay,
wire.
all right.
It's going to happen.
So you're giving in to peer pressure,
Y'all are
and
either
yep,
going to make a big jump on me or I'm going to expand my lead. It's going to be
Yeah.
great.
yeah, it's interesting. We got like Hunter said, lots of events coming up. We've got what did we miss? Did we miss one signature event? Because we didn't start until um Pebble, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's correct. I don't, was there
Did
a
we miss
signature
one?
event before that though?
I don't know. I should probably know the schedule a little better.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't think so either.
So we've got yeah, so next week is a signature event. So I mean, things could get really interesting
Yeah.
already after that. So you got Arnold Palmer and then obviously the players is huge. Um and then there's you got back to back with the Masters and the Heritage is a signature event, smaller event, then another signature event at Doral, followed by another one at Truist. So between now and May 17th, which is the end of the PGA Championship, it's massive. So you got to come out
Early
swinging early.
days.
Have
Yeah.
we figured out we need to have a roundtable off air what the prize and or punishment for losing this
Uh,
entire series might be?
there has been conversation
Yeah.
about um the loser has to play in the mini golf masters
Oh, yes, this
in
is
Myrtle
right.
Beach, with the camera in tow, and just see how you do against the world's best. So we've got a place to stay down there.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
so Hunter, you better start practicing your
Practicing my
putting.
mini golf.
Yeah.
That is probably the
Uh,
worst part of my game. So,
and I don't know if you need to get a special putter. I'm not sure you can bring yours.
do you have
Uh,
to play with
I,
like
I
a
don't I don't
mini
know.
golf putter?
I don't know, but we will be learning the rules. We'll have to officially announce the losers punishment, but that's a clubhouse leader for me at least at the
Yeah.
moment.
So when is are we going all the way through the end of the season or
Yeah, Tour Championship is the cutoff, and then the Mini Golf Masters is in October, so it kind of times out well.
okay.
Now that there's consequences, Ryan's getting serious about it. He's gonna
Yeah,
start making
he's
spreadsheets
this
and
is like
like he's
really getting
like,
play. I mean, you're like $3 million ahead of everybody else. You don't have to
Yeah,
yeah,
worry
you're
too
good.
much yet.
You're
that's
good.
that's not a lot at the in week
Ryan,
two.
Ryan lives at the beach for half the year anyway, it seems like. So this should be like your
Yeah.
natural habitat. You might actually win the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, what does that get me?
Well,
I don't know. It's a
Probably
great.
some
It actually
probably
gets
some
you a
money.
green jacket. You do get a green jacket. I did see that. Um, maybe there's
No,
some
I mean,
other.
what do I get for winning this thing between us? Because I'm in the lead. I'm gonna go wire to wire.
Well, we didn't really say that there was a winner's gift. There was a
Oh,
loser's. There was a
okay.
loser's prize.
All
I
right.
think we probably should award the winner though. We'll have to figure that out.
I think I should get a sweet item from Cricket or something. Y'all should just get it for me.
Ooh, ooh, I like that.
An
Maybe
item
you
of my choice.
an item of your choice from one of our sponsors.
And
Yes.
I can get a discount code, so I can use a little bit to get off.
Whatever
That's
whatever you
perfect.
need to do. Whatever you
Yeah,
need
it's
to do.
crazy.
Yeah,
It's
you
easy.
can get you can use one of the discount codes and we can buy your prize. You can get a new watch, maybe.
Okay. All right.
You can get some clothes from Cricket.
That works for me.
Speaking of Fabling, what shirt do you have on under that? Uh, we didn't match this time,
You
did
did a
we?
good job
No,
this
we
time.
didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't.
I
But
really almost wore the green jacket because we had talked about that last week, but then I didn't, clearly, but we didn't
that
make
was
the same decision.
that was a lucky move on your part.
And typically we've been in pretty good step here. But I like the duds everybody's got on. Be sure to check out the discount codes, everybody. We'll have those up in the video, but you got um For Love of 19 will get you 19% off at Cricket shirts, which is again a lot. I'm no math major, but that's a great discount. And then Love Golf 15 will get you 15% off at Hook and Gaff, which is great if you like watches, which I think a lot of us do. Your weekly update on the moon phase.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
gonna say we're at like 3/4 moon tonight. I'm just going off my watch here. Uh, Beautiful hook and gaff that you can't see because I do it the wrong way like every time. But I can't see the moon, but I don't have to. I can tell you it's about 3/4. Um, And finally, boys, does anybody else have anything they want to say about the Cognizant, about our one and done, about Sarge, about anything on this show, other than the fact that it was an awesome interview?
It
Not
it
all at
was
once.
it was
Yeah.
an
Not
awesome
all at
interview
once.
for sure. No, thanks Parker for bringing Sarge on. I've been looking forward to that one because it's always it's been several years since I've gotten to talk to him, but it's always a pleasure.
He's great. He's one of a kind and just really fun to be around. And I think that'll come through in this episode. And for our last segment of the evening, we've got final words with Fab. So, Justin, anything you want to leave the people with? Motivational, you know, uh, energetic, I don't know, whatever you want to
Closing
impart.
prayer could
Yeah.
be anything. Yeah.
Yeah. You
I
can.
mean, you sure you want to give me the floor? I could go on for so long.
Yeah, I am actually very sure that I would like to do that.
One thing off the top of my head that I was thinking of that we have not commented on yet that I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on. It happened a couple weeks ago. I know we don't talk about Live a lot, but did think it was pretty neat to see what AK did. Um, just because, he, you know, kind of when we were in college together, that was kind of him at the height of his
Oh,
powers.
I should have worn my belt buckle
That's
for this
that's
episode.
where I was
Gosh.
going. That's where I was going next. Was I know you and he shared an affinity for belt buckles. Um, and so it just, it kind of reminded me about that time in our lives. And just really cool to see him come back from where he was and accomplish what he did. Um, and I think that's just one of the really cool things about golf is that you put the work in, and you can go out um, and beat the people that he did. It was I didn't get to watch it, but I just think it's a really cool story.
It was a cool story, and like for him barely making that tour, whatever the relegation was, I think he made a putt on the last hole to save his card, and then it was very cool to hear. I thought it was yeah, it was definitely a very cool story, and Sarge could have maybe given some AK stories. I think he's got one or two too, so that we could ask him about that. But yeah, it was pretty cool to see.
I think two things I would say. I think it's probably the best thing that's happened to Live yet. And I think that it's probably going to be like grossly underrated in how impressive it was to win against. I mean, I know we've like I'm not like a big uh I think they do some cool things. I think there's some cool things that the tour's probably taken from it. I like some of the team stuff. I think that idea is kind of cool. Um, but I mean, he beat some world class players, and like to do that in really like he hasn't been back to playing tournament golf for very long. And it's not, I mean, yeah, he came back what last year, but I mean, like how many events did he actually play? Like they don't play a huge schedule, and so um to come back that quickly and win, and I should know this, but I haven't paid a ton of attention. Are they playing 4 rounds this year? Like that was a 4 round event too, right? Like so, I mean, whether that's a big deal or not, you can argue that, but like just to have to do it for one more round, um, with all that, like, and to go out and I think he played like really well the final round too. It wasn't like he was like hanging on to some lead. Like I think he went out and basically won it.
I
Um,
think he shot 63 and he
yeah,
was playing with, you know, John Rahm and Bryson. So
yeah.
it's
I
not
mean,
like he kind of backdoored it.
yeah,
He was playing with those guys all day.
pretty. I mean, just again, amazingly impressive. Makes me wish he was playing on the PGA Tour. Makes me wish probably that they could get something figured out. And honestly, like I think he could be like the catalyst for something getting done where they're able to play both. I mean, you saw it now, they're doing it with the
DP.
DP World
Yeah.
Tour. So they've gotten it figured out over there. So I mean, they got to figure something out to get Rom back and get Bryson back and now to get Anthony Kim back. I mean, like, can you imagine what it would be like if he showed up at, you know, Quail Hollow? I think he won at Quail Hollow, back in the day and get him on. I mean, I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's right around our age somewhere, I think. Um, so I thought it was great.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Liv kind of leans into that a little bit, like that storyline, or maybe that's the niche that it kind of becomes a little bit of. Like, yes, there's obviously some incredibly great players, some of the best players in the world that play on it, but could it be more of like a story place or like a narrative? Could it turn more into like the F1 of golf, kind of like where like the story and the athletes become a little more part of it? Could be interesting if they take that and kind of run with it.
Yeah. I mean, they need to like
They
For
need
sure.
something. Yeah.
take advantage of that while you can. They gotta get something going. Ryan, what'd you think?
Yeah. I mean, I'm like Justin, I didn't watch any of it. I just heard about it afterwards, and it was definitely inspirational. It's obviously more of a human story than a golf story. To see how his wife and child motivated him is pretty um, heartwarming to see. And as someone that has a family now as well, that means a little more to me than it may have meant if I was still in college or something watching him do this. Um, so yeah, I think that aspect of it was um, probably more inspirational for me than the golf part of it, just because I didn't even pay that close attention to his game even back when he was playing his best. Um, so I just don't have as much of a connection to that part of the redemption arc. But um, yeah, I just enjoyed watching the interviews afterwards. I enjoyed learning a little bit more about his backstory because I honestly had no idea what he had been through either. I mean, I'm not even sure how much he's really shared specifics of that. Um, but yeah, it was just on a human level really cool to see. And I hope he continues the success and continues to improve and it wasn't just a kind of a one-time thing.
I mean, it's almost 16 years after his last professional victory. I mean,
Yeah.
like I don't care what you're playing in. Like
Yeah.
you go 16 years between wins, it's impressive no matter what you're doing. I mean, he had top, he finished third in the 2010 Masters, fifth in the 2011 Open Championship, 16th in the 2009 US Open. I mean, he was killing it there for a while. Um, '08 he won twice. 2010 he won. So, um, yeah, great win. Thanks, Fab, for bringing that up. We hadn't really talked about that.
Good inaugural Fabs finale. I like that. That was great.
Yeah, Fable,
That was
you
pretty
killed it.
strong. That
You
was pretty
killed
strong.
it.
I'm
I
not gonna
don't.
lie.
Yeah, it's you're gonna have to top that next week, but
Yeah, good
great
luck.
job.
Uh,
All right, boys. Well, again, thanks for doing it. It was a great episode, and we got a fun one on the docket for next week as well. Not gonna let the cat out of the bag just yet, but should be fun, especially for these golf WRXers. All right, boys.
All right.
love it. Thanks, Chance.
We'll see you guys next week.
See you next time.
See ya.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of For Love of Golf. Very excited about this one. We've got a fun one planned here with friend, mentor, legend, Donald Ross Sargent Jr. Sarge, awesome to have you on. Thank you for doing it. I know you're a
Awesome for
busy
being
man.
here and being with you.
So I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way so you don't have to. I know
Okay.
you wouldn't do it anyway, but Sarge, a little bit of a resume here. Southern Ohio PGA Hall of Fame inductee, 5-time Southern Ohio PGA Teacher of the Year, 2-time PGA of America National Teacher of the Year runner-up, Golf Magazine Top 100 Instructor, Golf Digest Best in State, and a good guy.
That's last though, right?
We'll save the most
Fair.
important
Yeah.
thing for last.
Fair.
Yeah.
Sarge, we are pumped to have you on here. I'm really excited about this. So, tell us a little bit about where you're from, who you are, how you grew up, and kind of how you got started in the game. I know, special guy in your life kind of had a lot to do with that. So tell us a little bit about your genesis in the game of golf.
I started golf as early as I can remember my life because as much as I've been accused and other people have been accused of loving the game, my father loves the game more than anybody in the world. And my dad was very special in that he not only did he play golf, he was a school teacher. He coached football and he refereed basketball in the off season. But my dad took me with him everywhere he went. And my dad to this day is still my best friend. But in that golf was his number one love in the world. Um, the only day we didn't play golf in my life is Christmas Day. That's the only day I've never played. We never missed a day. When I say that, literally, we didn't miss a day. And when I got old enough, I rode the school bus to the golf course, and he would be there with my clubs and a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and we would play golf till dark every day. Didn't do much schoolwork and didn't do much studying, which didn't help me out there. But I loved golf more than anything, and it started as early as my life as I can remember. Took me to
And
Augusta every year, starting at 5, and really that's what probably got me into overdrive and wanting to be the best player I could be in the world, and then ultimately turned into being a teacher. Sorry to ramble.
no, that's great. Augusta's a pretty tough place to not fall in love with the game,
Yes.
especially at that age. So this was in Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
So
Franklin, Tennessee.
what part of Tennessee, what club did you guys play most of the time when you were growing up?
Franklin, Tennessee, which is 20 minutes south of Nashville, and was considered then in the boondocks. Well, now everybody lives in Franklin. It's become the place to be. It's where all the country music people live, Winona Judd and Alan Jackson, and, you know, uh, I can't even think of all of them, but they're
Winona
all,
Judd, that name sounds familiar. Seems like you have some history there.
the thing that was cool about her, she was singing with her mother, and they were poor as dirt. She lived in a double wide, and they were not popular. Didn't have any. They had no success, and but she and I got along because I think we were both so uber driven, trying to get. We knew what we wanted to do when we were sophomores in high school. She wanted to sing. I wanted to play golf, and not many people at that age kind of know what they want to do. And I think our focus and our drive and our want to kind of made us really close friends. And we did a lot of fun stuff together. Not many high school people, not many kids, know what they want to do. And I did, and she did, and that's what we did.
Well, tell me a little bit about your brother as well, and what kind of relationship you and he had growing up, and how did that influence golf as well?
I hate that question because I have a lot of guilt in that. Uh, we were 5 years apart, and I until I had my car wreck at my freshman year of college, you could have likened me probably as close to, in my own definitions, maybe like John McEnroe. When John McEnroe was in his peak, I was not as close to my brother then as I should have been, nor as at my age now, regretfully wish we had been. He was really good, but he was 5 years younger. So if I was playing in the 17 age group, he was playing in the 12 age group. And, you know, I wanted it to be my deal. And so I kind of made it my deal. We've become much closer now as we've gotten older. And I regret not being a closer and better big brother than I was.
I feel like that's pretty normal though, Sarge. I had my oldest brother was 6 years older than me, and like I mean, we practically didn't grow up together, right? Like he was in
Yeah.
college by the time I was in middle school, basically. So, um, and then like came back around. Like now I talk to him. I have two brothers, but I talk to him probably more than anybody in my family,
Yeah.
and it's kind of comes back around to that. So I think
Yeah.
that age gap is kind of normal the way that works a little bit too.
I
Um,
can say one thing
yeah,
if you'll let me.
yeah,
I had one of the coolest experiences I've had in my life, and I've had a lot of them last fall when he had a player on his UVA team, Ben James, who I think's maybe the number one amateur in the country or in the world.
yeah.
Or so he's up there,
He's one,
you
two, or
know.
three, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and he was on the Walker Cup team at Cypress, and one of my students who I've taught for a long time, who's won 4 U.S. mid-ams and one USGA, what is that, a four-ball championship, I think. So he's won 5 USGA titles. He was the captain of the Walker Cup team, and so we went to Cyprus together,
Mm.
and that was quite a special weekend to see him celebrate in his success with Ben James, and then selfishly my own success with Nathan Smith. Uh, and I felt like that kind of really bridged a lot of stuff that I was kind of, and he
Yeah,
may not feel
That's
like I was
cool.
that way. I don't know. We've never talked about it, but it's just something that I feel,
that's very cool, especially to have it at that kind of moment when golf means so much to both of you at a
Yes.
place like Cyprus. And probably
Yeah.
brings some of that along with it too. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool for sure.
That's
And
awesome.
also in an event that's so, it's got so much emotion in it.
Yeah,
The Walker Cup that's a big deal.
Huge
absolutely.
deal.
It's a huge deal in golf.
Yeah, no doubt. When we're taking you back just a little bit more, like so once you kind of got into the business, when did you feel like teaching became the thing that you wanted to do? And maybe when did you kind of realize like you have the eye for it or that you were successful in helping people? What take us a little bit through kind of those early days.
Well, I was my first job. The only reason, so I told you I had a car wreck.
Hmm.
And I don't know how good of a player I was at 62 years old now. I'm a lot better now than I probably thought I was. You get
Hmm.
better the older you get.
Was this in
Uh,
college? Was your rec was in college? Is that right?
my freshman year, yeah.
And you were at we're at
I went to a
Middle
junior
Tennessee. Okay.
college, which was we were number one junior college in the country. It was Alexander City Junior College, which is now Central Alabama.
Okay.
And that school was a and the powerhouse kind of in junior college golf. And that was because I didn't do my schoolwork. I was in the back of the classroom reading Hogan's book and Nelson's book and everybody else's golf book I could get my hands on. And that's what I was educating myself on. And I've just been fortunate that uh, teaching saved me from not doing schoolwork and it's allowed me to be able to make a nice living. So that's kind of, that's why I wound up in junior college because I didn't do my work. I was either practicing or trying to figure out how to get better. And I went to junior college. I had a really good first fall. Then I had my car wreck, and my game's never been the same after the car wreck. I was in a coma for 13 days, and I was in the hospital for a long time, close to a year. And got in the golf
Wow.
business because I got in the golf business because really all I was trying to do was biding time, hoping my game was going to come back. Well, so I'm reading and reading every book I can get my hands on, and uh, there was no Golf Channel then. There was not even DVD. There was VHS. Watching stuff like that. And I got in the golf business and stood in the golf shop the whole time with a good friend of all of ours that you both worked for and I have worked for, Bill Steins. And after 2 years of working for Bill and doing nothing but reading and watching videos in the golf shop, never folding shirts, never cashing the money, counting the money in the drawer, never dusting. He came and asked me what I really wanted to do, and I told him I wanted to teach, and that was 1987. At that time, I had fallen in love with Nick Faldo's game and his teacher, David Ledbetter, and I sent David 13 months, one resume a month for 13 straight months.
Wow.
And I finally got an interview with him at Lake Nona, and I went to Lake Nona, and I was one of the first three guys he hired when he started David Ledbetter Golf Academy. So the good Lord really watched over me, and he gave me, if you were ever going to start teaching, boy, that was the time and the place to do it because for the
Hmm.
people that are old enough to remember, I mean, at that time, Valdo was his star, but he was also teaching Dennis Watson, who was world class, finished second in the U.S. Open, and David Frost and Nick Price was coming up, and then a little later Ernie Els, and then Baker Finch came in, and he started, of course, he won a British Open. All these guys won huge, and Tom Watson came in there. It was a who's who, and I was really fortunate you know, to want to teach and to get a job, the best teaching job that you could get for a guy who was 21, 22 years old. And I just lived at Lake Nona. I would get there, work at
Hmm.
6 in the morning, and I wouldn't leave until late 9, 10 o'clock because you never knew who was going to come in the gates. And I had made up my mind. I am not going to miss whoever comes in the gate because a lot of those guys would just roll in, and I wasn't going to miss it. It was a show. It was a show from seeing those guys because obviously the best players in the world, but the other part of it was watching the best teacher at that time in the world teach them, and I was writing every word down and learning everything I could learn and video and everything I could video, and it was the good Lord again, it was you couldn't have been at a better place.
So
It was
was that kind of
incredible.
your deal there? You would be in there with him a lot when he was with those guys, and you're taking notes and doing the video for him and things like that?
Hmm. So back then, video was VHS,
Mm-hmm.
which is hard to imagine. If you
Yeah.
got, there's a lot of kids in here don't even know what VHS is probably, but the
Yeah.
tapes were, well, the tape was probably 10 inches long and 4 inches wide, uh, and we had this big camera that I held on my shoulder, like you see, almost like you see the people on TV do. And so we put it on this tripod and I'd film from 4 angles down the line, face on. They'd hit over the camera. So that was on the line.
Mm.
And then from behind. So I would film 4 angles and then I would eject that big cassette and I would always go in first and put it in the VHS player, rewind it back and get it queued up. And then David and whoever he was teaching, and again, the list of people I could tell you, Seve Ballesteros, it just, everybody who was on the European Ryder Cup team and American golfers were coming in there. And David could hardly run the VHS because he was not mechanically inclined. And it's kind of funny for me to say I was, but so we put the VHS tape in the player, and then we would draw the plain lines on the screen with a grease pen,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I would run the VCR for him, frame by frame, and then whatever he needed to do, and then we'd go 500 yards back to the other end of the range and work more, and uh, oh, I'm at 62. A lot of times you say, boy, I wish. I'd never go back and do what I did. I would go back tomorrow and do it. And if there's anything I don't like about the job that I have right now, it's the fact that I don't get to sit on the bucket and film and take notes for Mike Adams, for Jim Flick, for whoever the legends that I've been around and the players that they taught, because I miss that so bad.
Well, you have your own bucket guy now, probably. You're the legend now.
I want to be the bucket. It's more fun being the guy sitting on the bucket learning because the hard part now, and you can never learn all you can learn about golf. And I hope anybody listening to this doesn't hear me say this or hear me say it wrong. But it's getting harder to learn stuff because I've been fortunately exposed to so many great teachers and non-teachers like, Sasha McKenzie or biomechanist. And it's getting harder to learn because over my career of teaching that started in '87, and here it is, that's a long time. A lot of stones have been over, and I don't know what hadn't been turned over, but most of them have. Wouldn't you agree, Hunter?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I definitely still think there's some questions out there for sure. But
Oh,
yeah, I mean,
totally. I'm not saying that.
yeah, and all the stuff that like old school, it all comes back around, right? Like it's not,
Yep.
there's very few new things. It's just like we understand a bit more, at least my opinion or my
Yeah.
perspective is like we just understand a bit more why that thing worked,
I
right?
think we
Why
do
that thing was
better.
successful.
And I'll ask you this question, Parker, all you guys. I think the reason we're able to understand it better is now we can measure it.
For sure.
Yeah.
That old saying, if you can measure it, you can, if you can quantify it, you can. Now when you start talking about foot pressure and swing
Yep.
catalyst or, smart to move or what, there's aren't many places that where you can at least find an answer now. Back then, even videotape, as we know now, and I don't tell my students that because it's still helpful, but video doesn't tell us a lot because it's not measuring pressure and speed and direction and uh, dimensions.
For
It's
sure.
not measuring dimensions. And
hmm
so when video can look one way, but it's not what it looks like.
hmm
Is that, don't you think that's fairly said?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. But I mean, it's kind of cool. I would love to kind of go back to that a little bit. And like, what were there any of those, like, once you could see stuff in like slow motion, like now you weren't just looking at the guy, were there any of those like aha moments, like, oh, I didn't realize this was actually the thing that was going on because we hadn't really been able to slow it down and see that kind of stuff? Did you pick up on any of those kind of things or unique, whoever it may have been, Faldo or whatever,
Mhm.
kind of swings that you were like, man, well, that's strange.
I hope this is the answer to your question.
Yeah.
Now that I have Swing Cat, and the foot pressure monitor,
hmm hmm
what I have learned is the golf club now goes where foot pressure goes.
mm
Okay, so if you spin your hips and you get into your left heel quickly, the club path is going to go to the left.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
just going to. Or if you push too far to the right and stay closed too long, you're going to have a big inside out
hmm
path. And I think all of us have spent countless hours with really good players that I would like to have back now that that I could have made better if I would have known how much. I always heard and we always learned the swing started from the ground up,
mm
not knowing that wherever foot pressure pushed or went directionally is where the golf club is going.
hmm
And boy, once I've learned that, now it's so much easier to get the club to do what you want it to do,
hmm
whether it's laid off the top or
Yeah.
across the
Yeah.
line or
Yeah.
swinging too far inside out or too far over the top. All of that is predicated by where speed, pressure, and motion are carrying that golf club. And when you didn't know that and you were trying to change it,
hmm
that's why you hit 1,000 balls because you had to. You didn't know how to change it. The
Yeah.
only way to change it was just keep hitting balls and
Figure it
hope you
out,
stumbled
right?
on it. Yeah, you figured it
Yeah.
out by hitting
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's cool. I would love to be sitting on a bucket with you at that time too. That's
It was
awesome.
incredible. It really, I mean, I've got some videos of Faldo, and I see myself in the background or whatever, and I kind of laugh about it because it's like, well, I'm standing back there. And I didn't know what in the world I was thinking about and what I was seeing, and nor also did I realize how great of an opportunity I was having at the time. I knew it was good, but I didn't know it was as good as it was.
Mm-hmm.
Because Faldo was kind of like Tiger. He was just the best. And to be that close within earshot and visual shot and to be part of all that was incredible. The good Lord was watching over me again.
Mm.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we could probably go for hours talking about just Lake Nona stories and the Lake Nona years.
Yeah, David Frost was kind of like, he never wanted to be the best player, and he could have been because he was that good. Um, but his deal was when we put the camera out in front, so to film the ball coming on, his deal, all he wanted to do was hit the camera, and he would hit flighted knee high shots, never hit it. That was his great. He might even tell you now at his age, and he's probably 70 now, close to it. Your biggest disappointment, never hitting Led's camera when Sarge would put it out in front. He would always hit that ball head high, and sometimes I'd be out in front and I'd hear that thing go right past me like a missile.
Mm.
It
But
reminds me of that commercial that Tiger Woods filmed when they told him to aim for the lens and he hit it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, so can you give us a kind of a quick rundown of what life was like in the teaching world from there to where you are now? What kind of stops you made between Lake Nona and Scioto, and what were some of the most memorable either lessons you gave or people you learned under after David?
I was really, really lucky because of my own asking of questions. I was voracious question asker, trying to you know. I mean, those guys were like 35, maybe 40 at that time. So they didn't know as much then as they know now. And I asked questions probably they couldn't maybe either didn't know answers to or didn't want to answer. And I always pushed my envelope further than I needed to push it with David, and then later with Mike Adams at PGA National. Did the same. I was lucky with Mike. Mike's the most knowledgeable guy I ever worked with or for, and still is to this day. I talk with Mike a lot, and he gives me lots of answers. Uh, and then Jim Flick after that, and with Flick, worked with Flick was Mike Malaska, Martin Hall, and Susie Whaley.
Mhm.
So, I asked enough questions there where they asked me to move on. And then I went to work with Mike McGettrick, and same thing, asked enough questions, pushed hard enough to where I was fortunate enough to get my own first gig at Oakmont.
Mm.
Pretty good
And
first gig.
It's not too
yeah,
bad.
that was incredible. And again, my buddy Bill Steins, who we had stayed very close with, in fact, was just with him this week. Um, he helped me get the job at Oakmont, and that was a great, great gig. And I thought Oakmont would be my last move, but I think every time we get a job, when we start, we kind of like, well, this is it. This is, well, and I've also learned that that's when you start looking for your next job when you get that one, because
Yeah.
don't ever get too comfortable.
Yeah.
Uh, and Bob Ford and I are still really, really close friends, but I remember Bob saying that Oakmont's not big enough for the both of us. And I was fortunate to have another safety net, which was Bill Steins, who is here at Scioto, and that was 2005. And I came here on May 15th of 2005, and I've been here ever since. Um, it's been an incredible, fortunate ride. But every place that I've been, um, I learned not as much as I could have learned, but probably almost as much as I could have learned. Pushed my envelope as far as I could push my envelope before I had to move on. And I've just been fortunate enough to work for David Ledbetter, Mike Adams, and Jim Flick, and Mike
Metric.
McGettrick, yeah.
McGettrick,
McGettrick, yeah.
and then Bob Ford. So when you
Yeah.
look at that lineup, every single one of them are in the Hall of Fame of
Yeah.
of teaching, except for Bob Ford, and he's in his own Hall of Fame of everything else.
Yes, he is.
So
He is.
I, it's incredible, and that's not counting players that I've learned from,
Mm.
because players teach you a lot too, because players teach you different. They don't teach you how to swing. They kind of do in a way, but you also learn how they play.
Yeah.
And when I'd say if teachers could be better at anything, that's probably better where all of us could be way better is to teach people how to play the game better, not how to swing the club better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
we've seen a lot of people that can swing the club that haven't been as good as we thought they would be. Tom Pertz or guys like that, that swung beautifully. And like, how did he never win? Well, maybe his game skills, his management on the course is not good, or that's an art that we all need to be better at, because in the end, even high handicappers, you got to learn how to manage your ball so you can make a 5 a 4 and a 4 a 3.
Yep. Yeah, that's a
Good
great point.
players, good players make 4s, 5s, but they're swinging good, and they're worried about why they swing. And
Yeah.
uh, it's our job to get them to swing good, but then you got to shift them out of swinging, and you got to help them beat good players. And there's not enough of that. And there's not enough instruction, in my opinion, put onto how to make people better players.
Yeah.
Totally
That's a
I
good
think
agree.
point.
everybody thinks the answer is to swing better and to hit it better, and it's not.
Well, and I'm not a teacher, but I
Yep.
would, to me, that's kind of coaching instead of teaching.
Mm-hmm.
It's more holistic than just
Yep.
teaching the swing. But obviously, I mean, you've been at like these just incredible venues, and two in particular that I focus on, just from the golf course side of things, are Oakmont and Scioto. And I mean, those are both like very difficult golf courses. I think Scioto is underrated for how difficult it is, and I think a lot of it has to do with Bob and his team and like the conditioning of the golf course. Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
always so difficult. Um, like, what do you think that does to the members? Like, how does that affect their overall game, whether positively or negatively? Like being a member at a club like Oakmont or Scioto, these USGA type golf courses, do you think it makes them a better player overall, or is it harder to be a great player?
I think it's harder for them to be a good player. I mean, because they're inherently a 12 to 15 handicap, right? Well, when you put rough on both sides and you make greens, especially at our where they were elevated and hard, I mean, what what makes a golf course any harder when greens are elevated and hard and you got rough on both sides and greens are running at 11 and a half or 12 on the stimp meter? Who can play it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And they do it every day. They come out there every day and they don't know any different. And I mean, granted, they're not great players, but their chances of becoming a great player are nil, nil.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting study. You would think, okay, well, maybe their game travels, but they're not playing anywhere else that's like that very often. So it's like, what do you have? You can't really draw on a whole lot when
No.
you go play
Well,
somewhere that's just
to
totally
kind of
different.
answer this, and maybe this will answer it, this time of year, a lot of people go south. And they go to Florida or out west to play. And they come home after all winter and they play for the first month or 6 weeks. And they're like, God, my game's just gone in the tank. I can't play. And I'm like, no, you're playing a harder golf course now. And they won't admit or take that, but that's really the truth of it is they've gone from playing a course in Florida that's doesn't have the rough and doesn't have green speeds like that and all, and that's 5, 6, 7, 8 shots, maybe 10 shots in their game that they think is they're playing worse when they're here, and it's not. They're playing a harder golf course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you say that too, and like the birth of the Op 36 stuff. Obviously, we have background with that being started at Campbell, and I know Chris at your place does an awesome job with the juniors and like taking them to another. I think that's super smart. Maybe that's not the whole reason, but I'm sure part of that reason that Chris does that is exactly that, right? Like if you put a beginner junior golfer out at Scioto, like they're just going to get so incredibly frustrated by it
Mhm.
because it's so hard that it's just going to be too difficult. So like, makes sense that you guys kind of do that there too, and it's pretty cool.
I had a good friend of mine at Oakmont who I taught some, played college golf at North Carolina. He's about he's about 7 or 8 years older than me, and he was a Walker Cup player. And he played in the Walker Cup in '82 at Cypress. His name's Frank Fure. And I asked Frank, because he was a member at Oakmont and he was a member at Pittsburgh Field Club. And the field club ain't easy. I mean, that was the sister course when we had the U.S. Amateur there, so it's not like it's a pitch and putt. But I asked Frank, I said, how in the world did you ever learn to shoot 65 and make birdies when you grew up in Oakmont? He said, the only time I played Oakmont when I was growing up when it was a tournament. He said, because, you know, it just every time I played, it made me feel like I played terrible.
Yeah,
So I didn't play
absolutely.
there. I played at the field club, and I kind of laughed because I thought the same thing I just told you. Like, well, the field club's not pitch and putt.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
it feels like pitch and putt when you come off of Oakmont.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
um, I think if you play a lot of tournaments like you probably did as a junior, and all, you get to play enough courses where you're getting smashed. But playing, all parents and we all would make the decision. Boy, I wish I was a member at Oakmont so my son could really learn to be a champion golfer. Well, you don't learn to win at Wingfoot by growing up playing at Wingfoot. You,
mm,
you got to learn to play and have confidence, and you got to play everywhere.
Yeah.
The best players could win the Bob Hope Desert Classic and shoot 29 under, but they also could go and win at Wingfoot and shoot one over. So
Yep.
you got to be able to play the game in all scenarios, and I think that's where that comes from.
So I think this is an interesting question. I'm interested to hear how you're going to answer it, because you've been around such great players, but we know that when certain players hit a golf ball, it just sounds different. Um, what are some players that you have been around that were the best ball strikers?
Uh, That's easy because, as you know, there's not many of those, right? And even if you're lucky to be on tour and you walk up and down the line, I'm sure Scotty Scheffler sounds better than most, or Tigers did. Or the guys that made a noticeable difference to me was Nick Price and Nick Faldo and Jack Nicklaus. When Nicklaus hit it, and some of that was the clubs that he had,
Mm.
but I know he was flushing it because he had those counterbalance clubs with a weight in the grip end
Mm.
and leather grip, so they kind of were clanky, rattly sounding. Uh, but those three for sure. I mean, just when they hit it in the dead center every time, and they did it with a lot of speed.
Yeah,
And
That helps.
that
that helps.
that
That's big
and they
time.
squeezed it. You know, they squeezed it. That was a British term, I guess I've kind of adopted. But Nick always talked about how he squeezed it properly. He squeezed it, and that's the club squeezing the ball against the ground. You know, and um, that's angle of attack, I guess we would call that maybe now. And is center gravity of the body being in there more over the ball so they could hit
Yeah,
down and
yeah.
on top of it. And those guys, those are the three I could think of the most.
I'd say those are three pretty good examples right
I'd
there. I
say
would
so.
say if you
Yeah.
asked anybody who's good ball strikers, those three would
Mm.
be off the top of the list pretty quick. That's for
And
sure.
I know Woods would be there. I just haven't
Sure,
been
sure.
that close to Tiger that
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been fortunate to be around a lot of great instructors, yourself included, as we kind of talked about in the open. Like I unfortunately wasn't into it at that time, so I didn't spend enough time. And you like taking advantage of those opportunities you had. You're kind of talking about like I didn't realize that at that time too. But a question I always like asking instructors because kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier too, like what are the questions that we still don't totally understand? One of those big ones, and like the $1 million question to me is club face control. So how do you teach that, or how do you think about that, or what are some successes that you've had with trying to get players, amateurs, tour players, whatever it may be, with better control of that curve face, that crazy little thing at the end of the stick that drives us all crazy?
To me, as hard of a question as that is, it's an easy answer for me because I spend my whole teaching career. It's funny, the further I get, the more I teach it. But I just think it's how you put your hands on the golf club. I think when you hold the club correctly, and I've taught grip a lot, and I am thankful every day now that Scotty Scheffler comes on with that training grip. Because
Mm-hmm.
now I got a box of clubs right over there with training grips right over there, and I sell them now, but it's easier to sell them because the number one player in the world, every time you see Scheffler, he's got that thing in his hand, you know, and he's on the range with
Mm-hmm.
it. Uh, and I've had Jack Nicklaus tell me that at the start of every season, like January the 3rd or the 4th, after all the football was over, back then, you know, the bowl games were over on the 1st, and he would get with Grout and he would say, and I am quoting Jack because he told me this story at least 5 or 6 times to my face, you know, okay, Jack, show me how, and I'm quoting, okay, show me how to properly put my hands on the golf club. Now, when I hear Jack Nicklaus,
Yeah, yeah.
18 majors, 2 US Am, 20
Yeah.
major championships, at 35 years old, tell his teacher, show me how to put my hands on the club properly, boy, I don't have to hear much else.
Mm.
And now here we are, you know, just finishing January, just finishing February, and I got people coming and taking lessons, and you know, you need to spend the first 6 weeks of your golf season learning to put your hands on the club correctly, how to get the ball position in the right place, how to get the balance in your feet in the right place, which is something we have never really talked about before we had the swing catalyst, you know. But
Mhm.
you can't play from your heels. Probably can play better from your toes than your heels. But you got to get your weight in the right place because when you get your weight and your feet in the right place, then your body can move correctly. And then, so if your body can move correctly, and as Jim Flick used to say, your body responds to the golf club, As much as I didn't agree with everything Jim says, I'd have to agree with that. If the club's swinging in the right direction, I think your body does a lot of the right things. If you get your hands on the club so the club face is in pretty good shape and you get your balance pretty good in your feet, unless you really got some problems, the club ought to go generally close to where it ought to go.
Yeah. How do you teach grip? Maybe getting into it a little too much, but like how do you like I mean like is it like Hogan's holstering? Like I have many different ways that I teach it. Do you do back of the left hand with the club face? Like what are some little things you do to
Yeah.
teach grip?
I think number one, it has to be in the fingers more than the palm
Mm-hmm.
because you can't hinge your wrist if it's in the palm.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't hinge your wrist, then you can't create speed. If you can't create speed, it doesn't matter if you hit it good anyway because it's not going to go far enough to be any good.
Yeah.
So you got to get it in the fingers. You got to see two knuckles on your left hand. If you're a right-handed golfer, your index finger knuckle, your middle finger knuckle, you got to see those two. That gets the club face pretty square. The right hand has become much more important to me than it used to be as a teacher. I try to get the V's of both hands to be the same, pointing somewhere between your right eye and your right shoulder. Club faces have become squarer or more closed than they were when I first started teaching, even with lead. Guys hold it stronger
Mm-hmm.
or more closed face.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a better way to say that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, when you get your hands on there correctly and the face is square to slightly closed, then your body, when it turns, opens the face, and then you can really start to match good body rotation with having your hands on the club correctly to hold the club so that it doesn't move in your hands, so that it doesn't have to flip across because the only reason it's flipping because it's trying to square. If you have
Mm-hmm.
your hands on club squarely and your body's moving together, you got a fighting chance. Is
Yeah,
that
I've
you
become
think that's a fair answer?
absolutely. I've become obsessed with grips the past 2 years. Just how people put
Yeah.
their hands on the club and that right forefinger to me, and kind of that big bone on
Yep.
your trail hand right there. I just think there's something in the way that your forefinger and your thumb kind of interact, like that twisting
Yep.
motion that we do. I think of a lot of times like twisting a bottle cap or how we drive, like our hands kind of position in that way. And I'm
Yeah.
not scientific by any means, but I think there's definitely something to that. And I change
Yeah.
so many grips all the time. That's probably the thing that I do the most. And I know some golf instructors
Yeah.
would say they don't change grips, which I
In
would
the
not
right
agree with
hand,
that.
in the right
Yeah.
hand, and this is a tough thing to get people to do sometimes, but it's how I teach it. I get them to make a gun
Mm-hmm.
with their right hand like you did as a kid, and you learn there's a lot of dexterity to it that people don't realize. You take your thumb and you put it against that knuckle you're talking about. I'm trying to get
Mm-hmm.
this in the screen. Get it
Yeah.
right there. And now
Mm-hmm.
you've got that thumb against that meaty pad of the right hand.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take that index finger and you put the tip of that index finger on the tip of your pinky finger and you create a question
Mm-hmm.
mark.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, nice. That's a good analogy. Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
when you
cool.
can make that question mark, because the club's running right through
Mm-hmm.
that little window right there,
Mm-hmm.
I stand around as a nervous energy, just talking to people,
Mm-hmm.
just and I do that because I don't know when and where I learned it, but when you, like you said, if you get the club in the fingers here, it's not going to go anywhere in the left.
Yeah.
Then when you get that thumb against
Mm-hmm.
that meaty pad of the right hand, and that get that index finger to make that question mark.
Mm-hmm.
A, you don't have to squeeze it, and B, the club's not going to go anywhere, and then you can rip
And
it.
and it's kind of incredible to the parallels you mentioned earlier. The feet are the hands are the feet. Like then you start thinking about the pressure in your feet and where that's happening. It's happening under that big bone of your big toe and like
Yeah.
this little part here, and like it's all like
Yeah.
super duper connected. It's pretty cool for sure.
So you asked me a minute ago, or I made a statement, probably an incorrect statement, about harder to find answers or
Yeah.
unfound answers. One that really, really beats me up that I want to create an invention for, and the only one I ever saw was Flick, and it was really good. He had one of those grips, if you remember, where if you squeezed it too tightly, it beeped.
Yeah.
Uh, I think grip pressure is a really unanswered desert for You answer, yes, Sam Snead, hide the grip I hold it light. Yes,
Yeah.
somebody else, I hold it loose.
Yeah.
Well, what is tight, what is loose? We need to be able to quantify what is grip pressure
It's coming.
because grip pressure affects
Hmm.
hinge, speed, release.
For
So
sure.
important.
Yeah. There's a
So I
couple.
would think, I
Yeah.
thought the next time I'm around Swing Cat or whatever, that they've answered foot pressure. Let's take what you got there and turn it into what the hands are doing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple companies that have kind of started doing it the past couple of years. Sensor Edge is one of them, and then G Grip's another one that I've seen that's starting to put. Liam McLeod did like a little uh, study on it with it, and it was pretty interesting. And like some very intuitive things that we kind of see anecdotally, but the idea of holding on to it loosely is probably not valid. Like
No.
they're holding on to it pretty tightly at certain points in time,
Well,
but
if it's moving 120
yeah,
miles an
exactly,
hour, you can't
exactly,
get,
exactly,
you got to have a hold of it. But then
exactly.
again, how tightly you're holding it so your wrist can still lever and hinge. And
Hmm.
that's a, that is a unanswered question. I think that would help a
Yeah,
lot of players.
yeah, and a really big difference too. Something. Sorry, we're getting on a tangent here, but I love it. I love it
No,
personally. I love it. I think it's
I do
great.
too.
Hunter's
I
starting
do
to
Um,
too
use
because
big
it's,
words.
no, I'm
It's
not starting to use big words at all. But the difference in grip pressure and tension through our arms, and this is
yeah,
going back to all kinds of stuff too. I mean, like an analogy I've been using a lot of times lately, because amateurs hear this like, oh, I'm supposed to hold the club lightly. And I think what most people are trying to say there is like, hey, we don't want to have our arms and shoulders tense and things like that. Because yeah, we're trying to get energy out to the club head. We're trying to get speed into the club head, but they misinterpreted that of like letting go of the club. And
yeah,
really, it's like, well, we're holding on the club fairly tightly at certain points in time in the swing, but we do want to have our arms loose. And the
yeah,
analogy that I've been using a lot lately is like lately is if you're swinging on monkey bars, like you're hanging onto those monkey bars really daggum
yeah,
tight, but you're letting your arms swing in order to
yeah,
get that momentum and energy out to the club. So there's a
yeah,
difference in pressure and tension, right? Like there can be a
yeah.
difference there that not a lot of amateurs totally understand, but good
No,
players do intuitively.
yeah.
So
But I think,
That when we get answers to that, I think it's going to help a lot of players.
yeah.
and I think going back to the, what you can quantify, you can measure or whatever.
Hmm.
I think that when you're talking about tension and pressure, that's really hard to explain because gripping tightly for one person may be gripping lightly for another person.
Yeah,
100%.
that's what
And
I
that
was trying
that
to
it
say with a player. Snead might tell you he's barely holding it, and or another guy says he's squeezing it. Well, and they may be the same,
Hmm.
yeah.
but we don't know that because we're not able to measure it and quantify it. And until we're able to put a number on it or an amount, or
I don't feel
it,
like that should be super difficult to do. Like you can scroll Instagram and see all these guys doing like, grip strength and grip pressure. They can put that same technology in a grip and put a number to it that
Yeah,
should be
sure it just
trackable.
hadn't sure
it's
it just
not.
hadn't been done yet.
Yeah, it's not necessarily that tricky. The hard part is really what the answer to the question you want to know. We're going into the rabbit hole for sure here, but is force. So, like, which direction is the force going? And that's pretty darn complicated. Like, pressure would be very helpful for sure because it can show you things, it can point to some things, but it's like having a pressure plate versus having a force plate. Like, you really want to know like the forces, and that gets really tricky with putting it into a
Yeah,
grip. There's a guy in Japan that did it, but it like the grip disintegrated after like 15 swings or something like that. So that's
That's
rarely been
tough.
done. Yeah.
That's a tough
and
sell.
and
Yeah.
I'll say this, having just gotten back from the show,
Hmm.
PGA merchandise show. I didn't find anything I was able really to bring home this year
Mm,
because everything that we're making anymore costs $25,000,
for sure.
you know. But because the things that we're trying to get answers from are not $2 teaching aids anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that means somebody's got to have enough money to make it and it's got to be valid. And then you got to have enough money to have, somebody's got to have twice that much money to buy it. And that I think that's why I didn't find much at the show this year because the cost factor of getting these answers is pretty exorbitant.
Yeah, it's
I
getting
Hmm.
up
think all
there.
you guys would agree with that, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like what you were talking about earlier. It's harder to find new information sometimes. So, if you're having to work harder for it, you're having to pay more to find that answer.
Or if it's out there, which there's probably is somebody out there who's got it. He's not letting it out until he gets paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There's more of
who's
that
got it?
happening for sure.
Yeah, who's got it and
Mhm.
where is it? That'd be probably a better question. It's not that
Maybe
they
that's
don't have
been
it.
that's Hunter's
Yeah,
winter project. Maybe this year he's been
yeah.
working on a censored grip.
No, I wish. Not that smart.
That one that Flick had was really good. It only had like maybe 700 shots in it before it went dead, but it was pretty
Mhm.
good. He
Yeah.
just put it. Do you remember that thing, Hunter?
I know what you're talking about. I've seen it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Smart
absolutely.
Grip, I think it was
Yeah.
called.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. That's cool.
It at least was in the game of giving you some idea of, if you picked it up and the thing started whistling from before you started your backswing, you probably knew you
For
needed
sure.
to let it light up a little bit.
For sure.
Parker needed a whole set of those. If he takes
Yeah.
two bogeys, that thing would be his whole bag would be blowing.
Truth to that. He's got the bruises on the leg to prove that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He learned that from Bill Sons.
Yeah, exactly.
This is getting personal now.
Yeah.
Right. He deserves it. He's been personal with us for a long time.
Yeah.
About time somebody gave it back to him.
Oh, he's
Uh,
retired now.
um, so one of the great things about golf is that you can never master it. You're always learning. I know uh, sometimes I wish I could go back in time to high school or college and be able to play with some of the things that I know now back then. Um, with you being around the game for so long, is there anything that you taught in the past or thought in the past that you've changed your mind on or learned more about over the
Oh,
years that now you may do it differently?
I couldn't count how many things. When I was a kid, everybody taught you to set up in your heels. Everybody. And I'm talking good players, good PGA professionals, like you set up in your heels, you sit down. Yeah, that would be one, where your foot pressure is. Um, I don't feel like people try to keep their left arm straight anymore. I think that was a big deal. Um, it's a it's an easy question, but it's a hard question because I can't remember all
So
of everything
many.
I've ever
Mm.
been through.
Yeah.
There's so many of them. But like I said a minute ago, I really think if you grip it really, really well, and when you swing it, you stay within the space of your body, which that doesn't mean your head stays still, but you're not moving all around. Okay, if you stay within your space and you keep your body in that space with a good grip, I think you can swing just about as aggressively as you want to. I've always told people you can swing as hard as you can as long as you can hold your finish. So if you get in a balanced position in your feet with a good grip and can hold your finish, you ought to be in a decent shape to if you've got athletic ability to hit it in the face and hit it far enough to play.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And then you got a good work your short game because that's another show.
Yeah.
Short game
Yeah.
is. But I do believe you learn to chip, pitch, and putt as a junior golfer, and you
Hmm.
kind of get better at it as you get older. But I think what you see Tiger and Phil and those guys do with their wedges and around the ground, I think they learned that stuff when they were kids, and they just kind of still do that as a kid.
100%. Yeah.
It's not a
That,
mechanic to them. That's
no.
not a
Yeah.
mechanical action.
No.
That's just I got to hit it high and I got to make it stop. And they figured out when they
Hmm.
were a kid how to hit it high and make it stop.
For sure.
So that's a whole different side of golf that's not technical.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
is that
Yeah.
the right word? Technical,
Yeah. No,
not
absolutely.
mechanical.
Yeah. Not mechanical, technical. No, I'm one of the only couple of golf books. I'm not a golf book reader notoriously, but was the Alan Shipnuck, Phil Mickelson book. And he talks about that in there, how Phil just had a little green in his backyard and he just went out there and just figured out how to make the golf ball do stuff. That was
Yeah,
it. Like he just figured it out. And the short game, 100% agree that I would maybe even put more on that in the full swing too. But the short game, absolutely. You're just figuring out, how do I make the ball do what I need it to do for this particular environment and this shot and this situation. And yeah, I think that stuff is huge for sure. We got two more. We got two more for you. So I appreciate your time.
All
We
right.
got two more questions, and then we're gonna rapid fire you a little bit. This question's probably for me, more than anybody, but and I can say this because I am a golf instructor, but golf instructors are notoriously not great at the business side of things, and I do think, like we were kind of mentioned earlier, like what are the things that we can learn? I think as a golf instructor, things that I would like to see more on, and I really appreciate. I saw Jason Bale last year kind of talk a little bit about this, and when he came and spoke to our section, but I think it's kind of an interesting subject. But what, from a business side of things, what are some things that you've kind of learned going through your career? Because it's really tricky as a teaching professional. There's so many different avenues that you can take, and each club has kind of their own deal with an instructor, and some clubs do this and some clubs do that. And how have you kind of navigated that, being at all these really incredible places, when it comes to memberships or boards or head pros or things like that?
I'm terrible with money. My ex-wife out there, if she ever heard this, she'd agree. But the second side of that is money was never important to me.
Sure.
If I had dinner and a roof over my head, and I used to tell my ex-wife this, if we need more money, tell me, I'll teach 3 more lessons, I'll bring you more money. Money wasn't important to me, so I'm not good with money, but I've never wanted, really. Um, Bob Ford told me a hilarious story one time, and I carry this with me now for the first time in a long time. It's been the last 20 years of my life. Is I gave a guy a lesson over at Oakmont, just a walk by, like when I first got there, my first week maybe. And he saw me give this guy this lesson, walked by, and this guy started hitting it better or whatever I told him, and tried to give me money. And I'm like, no, it's no big deal. Just, enjoy hitting it better. And I walked off, and Bob said, hey, boy, come here. I walk over there and put his arm around me. He goes, you just give that guy a lesson? I said, yeah. He said, did he try and pay you? I said, yeah. He said, and you didn't take it? No. He said, it was 100, wasn't it? I said, yeah. He said, are you stupid? And I'm like, I'm from Tennessee. I'm trying to help the guy, and I helped him, and I was happy with that. And he said, let me tell you something, son. We're in golf, and how long you been studying this? Or however old I was then, I told him. He said, this ain't no hobby. Our business ain't no hobby. When a guy tries to pay you, take it. When he doesn't try to pay you, make him pay you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Golf and our job, it ain't no hobby. So we spend, guys like you and guys like me, all of us study and try to learn this game. And I don't even still like to say it, even as I'm uttering these words right now, but our time is worth money. And when you really think about it, we're grinding out there all the time thinking, God, this day's never going to end. But really, it's not that much time, and we got to get paid for what we do, and we have to charge what we're worth. And I would tell that to everybody younger than me. It's not a hobby. We work hard. Don't give it away. Don't. They even tell us at a lot of the PGA stuff not to discount it, right? Uh, and I know we have to and all that, but in the long and the short of it, if you work hard and you learn it and you earn your knowledge, you got to charge for it. And
Yeah, no, well said. Couldn't agree more.
I'm not comfortable asking people for money. I'm not even comfortable sometimes telling them what it costs, even at 5-time SOPGA Hall of Fame, and I charge 175 an hour, you know. Uh, and I know I'm the cheapest top 100 guy on Golf Magazine's list at 175,
Yep.
And sometimes I feel guilty taking that money when really I shouldn't, because when I think of the other side of it, how much time, how much effort, and how much hours I sat on the bucket and read, I deserve what I'm worth.
100%.
And I don't even like to say that to you, that I
No,
deserve what I'm worth, but we are.
Yeah, that imposter syndrome that lives in us all a little bit. That not sure if we're worth that, and I think there's a healthy amount of that too, and I think that
Yeah.
that speaks to your character as well. But no, I agree with you
I
100%.
mean, the guy that sells you your house, the guy that charges you rent, the guy that takes your car note, he don't feel like that.
Yep.
So, and we're professionals at what we do, so we have to charge a professional rate. And if people don't like that, then you got to let them go, and the next person will pay it.
Mm.
And they'll pay it. They just don't want to, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that answers your question, but
No, it's great. No, it's
it's a
good.
very it's
Yeah.
even this conversation with it's not comfortable with me,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah.
But
Well, here's one to make you even less comfortable, I guess. What would be
oh yeah,
That's
there's
this-
great.
lots of them that make me feel less comfortable. So go ahead and grill me. It's 10:30. I can handle it.
Yeah.
to round us out here on the questions, what would be your proudest moment of your career?
Ooh, probably my mom and my dad, and I love you, mom, but more dad being here in Columbus the night I got my Hall of Fame plaque because I did everything, all of the playing that I did, and I was a pretty good player. You know, I was a Tennessee Junior Player of the Year, and I still won a couple of, two or three D1 tournaments after my car wreck. I was okay. Um, but just that I was able for my dad to see me get that award because it was an award of my life's work. And even at 62, I've probably done a whole lot more of what I do for him than even for myself.
Hmm.
And I think all you guys that grew up playing with your dad or whatever, you probably kind of understand what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
because you want to make your dad proud. It's cool that we won, but when you come home with the trophy and you see your dad, that's
Yeah.
that's what it was all about for me. And I hope I don't I think my teacher, national teacher of the year thing, kind of may have passed me by. I don't know. Finished second twice, but if I ever could win that, I hope he's still here too.
That's pretty good. Hall of Fame. That's pretty good. Well, Sarge, this has been a lot of fun. We're going with a new segment here. So you're our guinea pig for this quick nine. Okay? No
I'm
better
a
guy.
perfect guinea pig.
No,
That's right.
yeah,
I've
there's no
been
better
one for
guy for this.
62 years.
There's no better guy for this. So these are not have to be like a one word answer. We're not sticking you to like you can only say one word, but we're gonna fire them off and just kind of give us the first thing that comes to your mind. So I'm gonna start you off with an easy one. Okay?
Okay.
Best player you've ever seen live.
Jack Nicklaus. Is
Uh,
that not who you thought I was going to say?
Uh, Probably. And Justin's question is kind of similar. But I don't know if I was expecting a couple different answers. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, he was pretty good from what I hear.
There's a lot of people your age that didn't get to see Jack, and Tiger was incredible. But 18 beats 15 where I'm from.
Yep.
And I think Jack beat better players than Tiger did at the same time. A lot of people your age might not want to agree with that, but boy, you go down and you start the tail end of Hogan and Snead, and then you get into Palmer, Casper, Player, and then you run into Miller, Weiskopf, Watson, Ballesteros. Like all you got to do is watch the '86 Masters, and look at the leaderboard.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think
Faldo, it was that nobody else could have won that tournament. Not even sure Tiger could have won that '86 Masters except for Nicklaus, I don't think. But just the pressure, 46 years old, the time, the moment, the place, it was incredible.
I think the top of the class when Nicholas was playing, I think was deeper. I think there's more guys now that could win on a given week, I
Totally,
think. But the
totally.
depth from the top 15 players. Like all the top 10, top 15 guys had like Brooks Koepka resumes, it seemed like,
Yep.
like
Yep.
handful of majors, not just like, three-time
Hmm.
tour winners.
Yeah. When you
So,
think of those guys I named, I mean, you got Snead and Hogan, we know, Palmer, he won a bunch. Player, he won a Grand Slam. Miller, he won a U.S. Open and a British Open. Weiskopf won a British Open. Then you got Watson, he won everything. He was one tournament from the Grand Slam. You know, had a six shot lead with 9 holes to play at Oakmont to win the Grand Slam. He couldn't do it.
Mm.
And then you got that Ballesteros Slanger European rider crowd. I mean,
yeah.
he Nicholas started with Hogan and Snead and ended with I guess Watson would have been the last one, or maybe the early stages of a Faldo.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's quite a
That's pretty
that's
good.
30 years, man.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
I think I know what direction this is going to go, but greatest golfer of all time.
yeah. Jack Nicklaus, 18, 18 beats 15,
Even in
and
Tennessee, it
then
does.
even in Tennessee, and my third would probably be Hogan. He won 9, and he did that after he got hit by a bus.
Hmm.
Which is hard to, and the military, and they got military and a
Yeah.
bus.
Yeah.
So how many years did he lose? He lost at least 5 there, and then everybody poo-poos, but and all you can do is based on what they did and when they did it. But Bobby Jones is pretty good too.
Yeah, he was all
Right.
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 He won 13 majors in 26 starts.
Crazy.
From his first major to his last major, he won 13 majors and
Yeah.
26 starts. He won every other one. And
Mm.
just quit at what, 29 or 30?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done
Yeah.
enough of this. I get sick and whatever when I play. I mean, come on. That's and he beat as many good players? No, but the guys he did beat were pretty good. Walter Hagen was good, and
Mm. Sargent,
Gene
yeah.
Sarazen, who won the
Yeah.
Grand Slam, he was good. So I mean, greatness
Yeah.
is greatness, whether that's whatever it is.
And
100.
whenever it is. Yeah.
And
Whenever,
whenever
that's
it
right.
is.
Babe Ruth hit 715 home runs. You say the pitching was bad, but he still hit 715 home runs.
That's right. All right. Favorite golf course you've ever played?
Shinnecock Hills.
Interesting.
Nice.
Okay.
But part of that was, it was great. It's an incredible facility. The honors, actually, as I see the pictures in the background of you guys, Mr. Lupton built that course the way he did because Shinnecock was his favorite course, not
I
Augusta
didn't know
National.
that.
Hmm.
I didn't know that.
That's
That's cool.
that he told us that. He told me
Huh.
that when I worked at the honors, but
Yeah.
it has a Shinnecock kind of a feel to it, and he was a member there, and that was why he built the honors the way he did.
Hmm.
And plus, I birdied 18 to beat Bill Steins at Shinnecock. I shot 75, but we played all the way back, and it was a good 75, especially with the 3 on 18 with
Mm.
a putt that broke about 12 feet from 18 feet. So
That's
that putt's
awesome.
still burning under his
I
side,
bet it
saddle,
is.
and
I
I
bet
hope
it
he
is.
gets a copy of this to watch
Yeah.
somewhere
That's
At
why
because
least
he
it's
this
been
still
broke.
hits so many balls, practices
That's
so
right.
much. I was sitting with him.
If you make him mad, he stays mad. He's still mad about something that happened in 1978. Go
I was
ahead,
sitting with him at
Harper.
the Carolinas PGA show. What was that last week? It's the second day. Everybody's like taking off, and here comes out Jimmy Piercy from Mimosa Hills, and Bill's sitting there, and it's like, you know, cold outside. There's still snow in the parking lot in Greensboro. He's like, Jimmy, can I come hit some balls out at your place today? So Jimmy calls and gets him all set. I mean, he just eats, sleeps, and breathes it still.
I gave him a telephone lesson day before yesterday.
That's
You know,
hilarious.
hey buddy, you gotta help me. I'm hitting it thin.
Oh, man.
Hit down on it.
Yeah, put your weight left, hit down on it.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Mine, I'm up next. What golf course would you most like to play that you have not been able to?
No question. I only got one left. only one left, and I'll tell you how it's going to end if it happens. The old course at St. Andrews,
Mm.
and whatever I shoot that day when I hold out, I'm going to walk straight west to the beach on the North Sea, and I'm going to take my shoes off and throw them in the North Sea, and I'm going to throw my glove in the North Sea and my bag in the North Sea, and I'm going to walk off, and that'll be the last shot I ever hit.
Nice.
Eh, you know,
Sounds like you've thought about this once or twice.
I've thought about it a lot. Well, that's how I got to play it out to where that's the last round I play when I make my trip over. But, and I know it's going to wash back in, but so whoever finds it after it washes back in, they can have it
is
because, go ahead.
is that why you haven't been over there yet? You're just not ready to hang them up yet?
No, I'm ready. I've been ready to hang them up for 40 years.
You got to get over there.
I
I'm
know,
not
I
rushing you
do.
to quit, but I
I've
mean,
got a good friend here, my good friend, Jeff DeLeon, here in
yep,
Columbus. And he's a member at where'd they play? Where'd they
Presswick.
play? Presswick. So he's a member of Presswick, and I'm gonna play all of that. But on my way back, I'm gonna play the old course, and I'm gonna throw it all right in the ocean, and I'm gonna let the seagulls have it to play with.
Take your wallet out of the bag first.
I think we
Yeah,
just found our open for the show.
Yeah.
there you go.
Sarge throwing his clubs in the ocean.
I'll get somebody to video it for you and send it to you.
I want to be there.
So
I'll
let's go.
caddy.
Let's go. Next year, not next 2 years from now, the next Walker Cup is at Lahinch, which I've been fortunate enough to play. I've been to Ireland, and and Nathan is the captain again. When you become the Walker Cup captain, you're captain twice, 2 times, and so we could go Walker Cup it and then fly
I'm in.
further
I'm
east.
in. Say
And
less.
yeah, we
I'm
take De
in.
Leon. De Leon's a good guy, because you don't go that far
Yeah,
with a
he's
bad
great.
guy.
He's
We
great.
take De Leon with us and do it.
Let's do it. Um, okay. Tell me a talent that you have that not many people know about.
I don't have it. All I can do is
That-
teach golf.
That's that's not true.
A talent. Well, I tried to play the banjo, and I'm no good at that. And I don't. It's sitting right there. A
That's a
talent.
hard instrument just to like. I know you were taking lessons though for a while. I mean,
Once a week for 4 years.
that's a hard instrument to play.
I didn't know it. It is. It's right there. A talent that I have. Um, I'm just, and maybe it's a weak answer, but I feel like I help people. No matter other than golf, I think I help people try to do whatever they do and be better. Maybe if that's a weak answer, I'm sorry. But
No, I like
I
it.
can't play really any musical skills. I'm not
You're a
very
good
smart.
storyteller.
I
Definitely.
can tell
That's what I
stories.
was going to say. Good storyteller, and you're good at impersonating people in the golf business.
And I
Feel
got
free to
I,
feel free to give us any of those if you want.
I got a lot of stories, buddy. Let me tell you, and they're all true. And Bill Steins is my number one go-to mimic
We gotta
person.
have Bill. I think we need to have Bill and you on together.
Oh,
Oof.
buddy, that'd
Need
be a
2 hours for
part
that.
5 show. Yeah,
I'm down for
yeah.
that.
Uh, yeah. We work on that
Okay.
off the air. Off the
Love
air.
that. Love it.
All right, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, Best round of golf you have ever played. So not necessarily the best score, but I guess, most fun round of golf you've ever played.
Best round I ever played was my junior year of college, and to me, I only kind of probably only count competitive rounds. But I shot 67 at Bethpage Black, and the next best score was 76.
Oh,
And we didn't play a practice round there, so I just went and played it. And then when I got in, it became a big deal with, all those people. I can affectionately call them Yankees, you know, when I shot 67 and I got called a schmuck for the first time in my life that I didn't know what that word meant. In fact, when I went up, like I always had to do, put a quarter in the payphone and call my dad and tell him what I shot. And then after I got through with the one I shot, I asked him what a schmuck was, and then he goes, I don't know, but it doesn't sound like a good thing. So um, that would be the best competitive round I ever played, and that was after my car wreck too. I shot 64 in the state junior, um, but that was easy, and it was before I had my car wreck. I don't, the 67, yeah, 67 at Bethpage.
It's pretty good.
That's a good one.
It's a hard golf course, man.
Yeah,
It's
such a
it's
hard
every
golf
bit as hard
course.
as Oakmont. FYI to anybody that hadn't played it, it's as hard as Oakmont.
I would agree. I would agree with that statement. They're both ridiculously hard.
They are stupid hard. I
Sure.
mean, if
Yeah.
you can't hit it offline or hit it a foul ball because you're just gonna make X,
Mm-hmm.
Tough.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given on golf instruction?
Easy question. 10 words or less. Let every lesson, you can explain it, you can teach it, end every lesson in 10 words or less. And I have always tried to do that with every lesson that I've ever given since I got given that advice.
Hmm.
Who
And
gave you that, Sarge?
David
You said
Ledbetter
that to
gave
me.
me that.
Ledbetter,
David
yeah.
Ledbetter. 10 words or less.
Like swing it better.
Whatever it is, whatever you come up with. Like I gave a lesson today, and uh, you know, I told him light hands and forward finish. That's all I wrote on the card.
Mm-hmm.
Light hands, forward finish.
That sounds very much like my dad. He had his own golf cart at the course where they were, and he would, he'd go grind it out in the dirt. He hit more balls probably than anybody I know personally, and he would find something like that, and he would take his pencil and just write it on the roof of the golf cart or wherever. Like he just doesn't care
Yep.
about, or take a Sharpie and just like write it on the roof so where he could look at it when he gets back in the cart.
I
Hands
write in
up.
people's palm a lot with
Yeah,
their
Mm-hmm.
gloves.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'll do that a lot, if I can get it down to one word or two words, But
yeah,
it has to be simple because, as we've talked about, it's all you go through all the stuff you want to go through the biomechanics and the numbers and the track man. You gotta boil it down to okay. I'm on the 17th tee at Scioto and I'm hitting it over the water. What am I gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
You can't read a sentence to hit a shot.
no,
You can't write a paragraph to hit a shot. It's got to be stay down or compression or whatever it is. It's got to be something, and it can't
yep.
be much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last one in the quick nine, and then I've got a bonus question. Can you give us a good Peyton Manning story?
Oh man. Well, he played here one time, forced to be remain silent with a guest who's a dear friend of mine, and I'll mention his name, Walt Dennis, who's a legend here.
They were
Won our
playing
first.
elsewhere. They were not playing at Scioto. They were playing at another
They're
place.
not. They were playing elsewhere at a private club here in town. And they finished and they were in the locker room and there was a long table there, kind of like a boardroom table. And there was a guy sitting at the end of the table who had had a couple of more than he should have had and rared up and yelled the length of a boardroom table and said, "Hey, Manning, I got to tell you, I don't have much respect for you." And this is after Peyton's retired, okay? I don't have much respect for you because I think you throw a soft ball, a soft pass. And Peyton is such a nice guy, and he didn't want to say the wrong thing, and but at the same time, he's Hall of Fame, right? And he says, "Well, I think you'd probably have a hard time catching one of my passes." And this guy rears up and says, "Oh, I could catch any pass you could throw. You throw a soft ball." Well, then, there's 20 guys sitting at the table. And so you know what the next question is, who's got a football? Well, the GM happens to be standing over there and they go, "Hey, you got a ball in your office, don't you? You got from Ohio State game or something, some autograph." So the GM goes to get this ball. And here we are. And Peyton's kind of embarrassed and doesn't want this to happen. And Um, they get it, they bring it in. So he's got this long boardroom table, and he throws it, and the guy kind of muffles it and rolls down his front, and everybody sits down, and that guy rears back up one more time. He says, "Hey," he goes, "that wasn't fair." He goes, we're indoors, and you know, it's not real. I want to go outside. I want to see you to really. I want you to let one go." So here we go. Everybody's out the door. At the place where they're playing. Stepped off 20 yards, and Peyton is standing, and his guest, Mr. Dennis, is right beside him. And Peyton's got a ball right up, like you would have it, right by his chin. And he let it go. And that guy put his hands on. That ball went through his hands and hit him right in the nose. Blood went everywhere. His nose went 4 directions. Peyton said,
That's
"What were we
never good.
drinking?" Peyton said, "What were we drinking?" And I mean, imagine the other 18 guys,
Mm,
at the guy who's laying on the ground down there with his nose busted, They go inside and finish cocktails, and I think that guy was quiet the rest of the day.
that's tough. When your nose is going 4 directions, that's a
Yeah,
bad place to be.
yeah. And the point of a football coming out of a Hall of
Mm.
Fame quarterback hitting you in the nose can't feel great either, I wouldn't think.
We can all learn a lesson from that situation.
Just be quiet.
Talk smack to pro athletes.
Yeah,
That's
don't
what they're in
don't
That's
charge
do
of.
right.
that.
Yeah.
Don't do
Don't
that.
do that. They're ridiculously good. You have no idea.
I've got one more bonus question, and I think that'll be it as far as the questions go. And
Okay.
is it true that you converted to being a hardcore Ohio State Buckeye fan after the 2024 college football playoffs, the game between Ohio State and Tennessee, and really just to match your love for the dynasties, like a New York Yankees fan from Tennessee?
I'm sitting about 3 miles from the stadium right now, and I can smell the wafting of that place coming under my door from now. And if they ever score again, that will make me mad. So no, no. I hate the Buckeyes. I've been here 22 years. Everybody knows I hate the Buckeyes, and I love the Vols. Uh, and in fact, I'm still celebrating the 1997 Citrus Bowl, which I was at when Tennessee beat Eddie George and
Yeah.
Orlando Pace
Yeah.
You need
20
one
to
more
6.
game to break the tie.
I
They've
do.
only played them
I
twice,
do.
haven't they?
Twice. That was the second time, so it's even. Uh, Hopefully, Heupel can get them revved up for one more. One more.
We're not going on like score differential. It's just wins and losses at this
I
point,
don't
right?
care. I don't care. We lost to them in basketball in the Elite Eight.
Hmm.
Had them down 20 at half. Should have won that game. Lost by a bucket. Didn't call the foul on the last play, but we have beaten them a couple other times in basketball since. And the Lady Vols did send the Lady Buckeyes home in their own stadium, own gym last year. So cumulative, we're ahead.
Heck yeah, you the Lady Vols, you got to count a lot of wins in there for them.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. They're getting lesser, but we did beat them last year. That was fun.
They'll come back around, I bet.
Yeah.
I one more thing in all seriousness that I want to read. I reached out to somebody that you know very well, trying to get some dirt on you
Ooh,
for this.
there's a lot of it.
I asked Bo Hogue. I said I was going to see if he had some stories that he could give us to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
And I thought this was a pretty cool text, and I feel like it is worth reading to you. He thought about it for a while, and he got back to me over 4 hours later and said, I guess I don't have a specific story in mind, but I'll say any success I've ever had in this game would never have been possible without him. He's helped me so much. It was cool that he helped me get to the PGA Tour. Not in the same breath by any stretch, talking about Jack being from Scioto, I believe. But I'd say we at least cast a shadow of a Scioto Country Club teaching pro helping one of his juniors get to the tour.
That means a lot.
I thought that was pretty cool.
That is very cool.
He's a
Sarge,
wonderful young guy, and I've been lucky to be able to spend time with him, and he's a great guy. Thank you for doing that. That means a lot to hear. Thank you.
Sarge, you're the man. Thanks for
Thanks,
coming
bud.
on and doing this. I've been looking forward to this, and we'll definitely have to have you back on. We'll get you on here with Billy maybe, and we'll just run as long as it takes. It may be like a 5-part series.
Yeah, that could be a week-long show.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just do it. A
Yeah.
weekly sit down with the boys. You're gonna have to
Thanks to
retire
all
though.
of you. Thanks to all of you, all your
Appreciate
questions.
it,
That was
Sarge.
great. And thanks a lot.
You're the
Yeah, you
man.
bet. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarge.
Thanks, bud.
Have a good night.
Thank you,
You
sir.
too.
You too.
Bye-bye.